welcome. We're happy to see you all here. What a great setting. I'd like to first introduce Mr. Paul Engel, who's the director of this wonderful library. Paul?
Thank you, Sandy, and welcome here, everybody, to the Brockton Public Library for, I believe, this is the, correct me, third annual arts, trauma from the arts, or arts from trauma, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be hosting this event. And last year I was fairly new here, and it was a really moving and emotional experience for me, and I feel the same way this time. Just seeing the art and seeing the poets that have gathered here. We have some music to add to it this time, so this is going to be a great event, and I just welcome you all here. Before I get any further, I do want to mention that we have news on Shirley Houston. She's one of the poets featured here, and she's been a longtime supporter of the Brockton Library and poetry in Brockton. She's home from the hospital, and she's in the hospice care at the moment. So it's sad news, I know, but we were wondering if we could all skim through Shirley's poem. Philip, do you know which one we're doing?
Number 29.
Number 29. And what we're going to ask you to do is take a minute, read through it, and we're going to recite it out loud as a group. And we're going to film it for Shirley and get the clip over to her. So with much love to Shirley, we're going to do that when you guys are ready. You guys good to go? Yes. All right. Somebody start us off. I don't know.
Sunny crosswalk.
Over on the rocks and merry faces, focused movement, keep the gaze. Alabaster boundary lines, blinders on, preoccupied. Tunnel vision, obscuring sight, kinetic efforts in search of light, that proves to be a metaphor, like golden rings and elusive world. Who contemplates moments in time, appreciates what's still sublime, perceives the silage in the sky, or sadness that's a smile in the eyes. Who contemplates the rising sun, appreciates the musician's run, who listens to the falling rain, embraces warmth of sunlit days. Furrowed brows and harried faces, focused movement, keep the gaze. Alabaster boundary lines, blinders on, preoccupied.
All right, now, I have a couple of people that I need to thank and a couple of groups that are here representing the artists before we get into the poets. First of all, for the first time, we have BAMSI with us. And BAMSI has a facility in Middleborough for people with brain injuries. Could you wave your hands, all the BAMSI people? And we have some others from the brain injury community here. Let's see your hands up. Come on. And we appreciate all the artwork that's on the wall. I'd like to introduce Tim Reed, who will be our host for the rest of the day. He'll be introducing the poet.
I'd like to say that piece that was written by Shirley was in reference to Sunny Crosswalk by Karen Page Dash. And our first poet today is going to be Mr. Rich Berg, whose poem is called Side Effects, and he wrote it in reference to Confusion by Linda Morin Alma, who is with us here as well.
Well, hello everyone. And yes, it's great to have such a big crowd of people for the event. Side effects, inspired by Linda Morin Elmer's photo, Confusion. Nothing is normal. My brain is injured, my physiology skewed, and life is a daily series of compensating techniques and medication management. When a colleague once remarked, "Lighten up," and I replied, "This is my good mood," I realized I had to acknowledge my cognitive and physical disabilities if I was ever going to rebuild my life and be happy again. Warning: disability can be harmful to your health. Seek medical attention if you have any of the following side effects: anxiety, back pain, delirium, depression, dizziness, forgetfulness, hallucinations, headache, heart failure, unexplained aggression, euphoria or agitation, high or low blood pressure, changes in appetite or libido lasting more than 10 days. Asterisk 1. This is not a complete list. If you notice any side effects, contact your pharmacist, contact your doctor, pharmacist, or attorney. Also, your insurance company may, without notice or regard for your health, change your medication to one slightly less effective and, of course, less costly. Asterisk 2. Many people using these medications don't have severe side effects. Many do. That explains why class action lawsuits are so prevalent. Asterisk 3. If you take more than 5 medications daily, you probably qualify for SSDI, Medicare, Medicaid, or other forms of assistance. Fourth, and the final asterisk, I am not a licensed anything. This is not medical or legal advice and should not be relied upon for decision making. It may, however, help you put things in perspective and invoke a sense that you are not as ditzy as you might have thought. You are. If you are, it's because even without illness or disability, sorting out life can be quite confusing. Thank you.
Okay, our next poet actually has 2 pieces that she's going to do. The first one is number 31, Anything is Possible, and the second one is number 37, In Praise of Nuance. These are both by Marguerite Guzman Boulevard. The first piece is artist Linda Moya Alma's work, Looking into the Future with Hope. And the second piece is photographed by Sandra Madden, Low 5, High 5.
I'd like to say something about the people who are here who are brain injured. I want to congratulate them on something that people don't see or understand: inner strength. And they have tremendous amount of inner strength and courage. People complain about small things. I have the flu, I have a cold, I didn't sleep well. These people are warriors, and I want to congratulate them. Congratulations. This first piece is dedicated to Edwin Soto. It's not easy to live in the Bronx when you're African American, but Edwin is amazing. Anything is possible. Take the sky. One moment, rays of light rest on the balcony. The continent of clouds open to reveal a deep blue. Then the wind's absence. Yet the air exudes humidity. The possibilities of rain. Just like the sudden decisions that shape our lives, by a group of men huddled together in a palace, proclaiming that the frequent loss of land the size of a football field by rising sea levels are of no consequence. Like the drought and high heat that invade our forests, causing unexpected fires, and that new private prisons will be built without mentioning that the inmates will be minorities who work there for a pittance. But a young teenager in a poor neighborhood is writing poems about police patrolling the streets and the fear that pervades them. Yet his verses are the wildflowers that greet us during our arduous journeys, the sudden smile of a person you pass by that opens up a place inside yourself, a little child laughing as she runs down the street, reminding us that there is always hope that moves us forward, the uncharted territories, the truth that kingdoms cannot vanish. This is the music photo, and I did this because one of the room says MS, so in praise of nuance, why does it always have to be black or white without the layers of our complex lives? My friend, disabled, steers his low-lying wheelchair through city streets, his hands grasping the bars, still courage, and the green shoots of springtime as he greets us with an open face. And we are visible again. The selves we pronounce in hushed rooms, in crowded rooms, are hushed as the heart strides out, proclaiming its screams and ochres, its burnt orange. Thank you. And congratulations to the artists.
The next piece of art is Harmony Rules by Rob Bowen, and the piece that was written is Hopping Hemispheres by Bill Albert.
Is Rob here? He Bill here? Because I got to talk to him about this piece.
24.
It's number 24. I picked the piece because as a teacher I had done some studying, of course, on learning styles, and I learned that if you have words in your painting, you're jumping from one hemisphere of your brain to the other. You're making the viewer actually really activate their brain by looking at the two hemispheres. And so his piece jumped out to me because if you look at it, he's got a musical score, he has a sentence, and of course the artwork, which is a collage. Hopping Hemispheres. Back and forth, this collage transports me across the fibrous bridge of my corpus callosum. Abstract, concrete, random, sequential. The artist's assemblage assaults my senses with colors, sights, sounds. Disassociated layers of calculated chaos. Synapses fired by his juxtaposition of fragmented parts, pasted to create the whole. The background, tactile and abstract. Torn paper, the colors of earth, sky, and sea. Moves my eye from land of brown, of gold, ceilinged by a turquoise soaring sky. Down over the navy blue ocean, or range of snow-capped mountains, to the sandy beaches of a green land. The language, concrete and precise. A pasted slip of paper with a typed simple sentence containing a thematic subject, linked by verb to a triumvirate of predicate nouns, cueing the artist's positive pronouncement, harmony is peace, joy, and kindness. The music, sequential and mathematical, ripped measures of a composer's complex score, the modulating keys of Schubert, Schumann, Chopin, harmonic notation of descending arpeggioed chords, directed by Italian abbreviation to play suddenly forte, then piano. The intention: to challenge the mind's ability to process tears of art by hopping hemisphere to hemisphere, left to right and back again, healing the brain with harmony. Thank you. And if I might indulge you for like 3 seconds, I'd like to sing for you the music that you see on here. Not really. Not really, I'm sorry. But this day is a victory for our creative brains, whether they be damaged or undamaged. Looking at the artwork here and listening to the poems and reading the poems in here, it's really a victory for the creative brain. Alla vincerò, vincerò, vincerò. Thank you.
Number 9, Loggerhead Beginnings is written in reference to Sea Turtle by Russell Miller, and it was written by Roger Boucher.
Loggerhead Beginnings. Imagine having 100 sisters and brothers. Your world experience a nesting site in the sand. After 80 days, less than half-pound, 2-inch bodies dig through the sand to an unknown world above. The moon's shimmer in darkness on the waters may deceive the hunters. Precious seconds between life and death for you. Bodies mass in a breakout scamper to the water, filling the night. The water splashes over you, tumbling you back, regaining your form. You start out on a 24-hour swim to safety. The ocean is big, and you are now seemingly alone. Where are the others? You keep paddling into the vastness of water, and still you must be aware that this will be your new home, and it will be essential that you search it out and learn to live among the sea's inhabitants. Turning, she angles for the inland shore where she would blend in with the shore's bottom. She was alone, but an inbred drive pressed at her to move along. She swam into a maze of sargassum, algae floating along. She rested in its cover. Before moving on, her survival was never guaranteed. A coral reef ahead. Her world was expanding.
Our next poet also has 2 pieces. The first one will be number 11, Not Always, and that is written to Mary Merritt's piece, Harbor. And the second piece will be number 25. So that's 11 and 25. Point of the Fence is the title of the piece, and it's fenced out by Robert Bowling. And the poet presenting these pieces will be Jim Moore.
It is my great privilege to be able to participate in this project, and I have done this for a couple of years, and it is a very rewarding one for me, and I understand that it is also a very rewarding one for those who are participating in the projects as brain injury survivors or caretakers. This is a very rewarding endeavor. Harbor by Mary Merritt. My poem in response to it is not always. Excuse me. Calm moorings, little ripples, masts angling away from the storm front, plowing toward the harbor. The play of light and dark clouds frame the shape of a keel bearing down the walkways of marina thought. Presciently, recovery is implied in the rack and wreck that will come suddenly and hard, that will devastate all sense of self and balance and now. The framed image of boats and motors, furled sails and lashed lines will be the blueprint after the storm's affront, will be the outline for the process of renewal. Calm steps before the storm, not always. And regeneration must come after. And with it, certainty, it does. Excuse me. And with it, certainly, it does, but too, at its own pace. If you listen carefully to this one, there's a little bit of Robert Frost alluded to in the very first line. Framed out by Rob Bonilla. The point of the fence. Fences make noisy statements. It is psychological play. There are fences here, there, and everywhere around us. Sometimes they are architectural, sometimes neighborly, sometimes territorial. Light always plays with fences. Lamp posts hanging with perspective, the sun blossoming through clouds on the horizon, yet under the globe of the lamp. Is it morning? Is it evening? Is it river or canal just behind the fence, village or city? What noises come between the slats? Every fence sometimes keeps in more than it keeps out, unintentionally so. Fences tell us when we are cut off, make us mindful of loss and deprivation and divide. Fences also give us goals and tell us when to leap to regain what we are fenced out from. They tell us as well when and where a leap of faith will let us recover a sense of the boundless life. Thank you.
The next piece is number 14, Sunrise, Situate Light, by our first poet, Rich Berg, actually took the photo. And it is written by Dr. Jim Brosnan.
I did a double take when I looked underneath the name of who the person was that produced the photograph. But it certainly spoke to me because I spend an awful lot of time along the ocean. So, revealing secrets. Lost among the tattered pages of my manuscript are forgotten minutes before first light. Those delicate moments when your silver bracelet glistened under a crescent moon. 3 paces back where phrases were written in the language of the ocean. This morning, I wander beige breakwater, let go of time spent in uninterrupted solitude with you. Let go of time marked by stars.
I'm going to introduce now one of the co-hosts of this, has put this all together, Philip Pesaurus.
So thank you for coming out on this wonderful afternoon. I wish I could tell you the score of the Sox game, but I can't right now. Kind of in the middle of something. Again, I would like to thank Mr. Paul Engel, the Brockton Library, for giving us this wonderful space. And
BAMSI, the Brain Injury Association, for providing the art. Karen Page Dash over here, stand up. She's one of the artists. So this is truly a community because we have the Brockton Library and we also have Brockton High School. Now Brockton High School is involved. They provided the pamphlet. We sent them all the information. The students put this together. They chose the artwork for the cover and they put everything together, the poem and the art. So I would like to introduce Mr. David Haloon, who was the teacher for Brockton High.
5-2, Bogart hit a grand slam. Can I tell you? It's Boston, Massachusetts, and Brockton. I hate to say it, but this is my last year here, so I'm retiring. But I got the greatest students, and I've taught in other areas, other towns, and I got the greatest students you could ever imagine. The news media needs to learn to report on what's going on in Brockton High School and the rest of the schools in Brockton and the kids of Brockton. People have to make noise. This, to me and to my students, is an honor to do this. I mean, we're not the ones that should be looked at. Well, my kids should be. But the people that did the work in here should be. So, enjoy. Thank you very much.
The next piece is number 32. It's the piece of art is Out on a Roll by Tracy Tarvers, and the piece is Join Hands by Kayla Niva Hamran.
Hello everybody. I just want to say that thank you, and I chose this particular piece because this is something that we all should stand up for every day. Join hands. My hands are here to help. Rejection, hate, and pain is all that you've ever felt. See, here is a land of unity, a community full of endless opportunity, where gender, race, and ability, and sexual orientation does not matter. Yet, you let your inspirations take over and be spattered. See, we are not here to judge. As I said, my hands are here. So let me heal your wounds and brush away your fears. I am here to save you, respect you, and accept you. There are no colors here. No gender is better than another here. Here is where we stand and fight back, and to keep going, inspire more, and to follow down our track. And together we build a new strength, treading proudly together down paths no matter the length. My hands, they're here to help, and let me wipe away your pain. That's all you've ever felt. Thank you.
Next up is number 39. The artist is Jen, and the title of the piece of art is Black Cat, and the name of the poem is Black Cat by Nancy Morgan Boucher, number 39.
Hello. I've made a few revisions on this poem since it's been printed, but it's such a short poem it won't matter. Maybe it'll matter more. Well, anyway, a fellow poet of mine and some others here by the name of Tom Daly said once that he wrote some poems with long titles, and it had sort of gone out of style, but he sort of liked them, and so I saw an opportunity. That's why this title is so long. And I tried to, as the title suggests, Robert Frost. So there's one particular poem by Robert Frost that is very short and sweet, and it's, I don't know about the sweet part, you can decide, but it's, I've always gone back to that. Obviously it has so many wonderful poems, but this is the one I always go back to, and it's called The Secret. We dance in a circle and suppose, while the secret sits in the middle and knows. That was Robert Frost. Now it's me. You'll notice the difference. After stopping by Robert Frost homestead, Derry, New Hampshire, while staying at South Shire Inn, therein, welcomed by resident cat. Okay, I'll get personal. I'll dedicate this to my little cat, which I have Sarah, but she's 18 years old, and she's pretty sweet, and she's, well, anybody that has a cat, they know what. I'll dedicate this to her, even though she's orange and white. Okay. And a female. Okay. How handsome Sir Sylvester, whiskered white, in stately tucks, black tail. His self-same right, born and bred, comes and goes as pleases him, then staunchly serves as greeter, as proper to a gentleman.
Next up with number 21, which is The Nameless Are Beautiful Too by artist Elliot Lamdone, is Passages by Dana Rowe.
Okay, yeah, and this is it. This is Lamdone's painting. And, you know, I've had the privilege to have lived with a painter for the past 41 years. Of course, I also had the privilege to be born into the house of a painter in 1947. That's 70 years ago. Save yourselves the math. At any rate, this is the one that jumped out at me out of the computer when I looked at all of the pictures. And yeah, I said, Jackson Pollock, I got to do that one. And so then I said, well, what am I going to say about it? Now that I know I like it. And I looked at it and I said, wow, all those parallels going down there. So I chose upon one of the Zen styles of poetry. This is a Korean shisho, so the Korean version of the haiku. Lifelines drying upon parchment, however flight carries their spans, first blush, stutter steps, hopscotching, and then streaming steady, partners linked, yet one falls first, promise fulfilled, existence. Got to tell Mr. Haroon this just as he dashed, but I worked in the printing industry for quite a few years, and this is one fine book. Well done, Brockton High.
Next up is number 2, and it is Cat Cute by Robert Elliott, And the poem is There's No Such Thing as Cat Cute by Wayne Craig Fredericks.
This is my third year, and I've been doing these in the voice of a squirrel for some reason, so you're gonna picture me as a squirrel. I purposely didn't cut my hair, if that helps at all.
You're a big darn squirrel.
Yeah. I think I got the first line of this latest poem. It goes, there's no such thing as cat cute. It's about this painting, Cat Cute, that shows this cat, and whether it's cute is in some dispute. By me, that is, and I'm a squirrel, so this poem by this squirrel. There's no such thing as cat cute. This isn't tricky math like figuring a cube root, or a clever trick like juggling grapefruit. Look at those eyes. Two in the front, both locked on you, in this case, both terrifyingly blue. Doesn't matter, they're so blue, the sky looks green in comparison. Remember, you're looking up at the cat. Now take a bunny. There's a bunny. Now take a bunny. Now we're talking cute. And chipmunks. There's a chipmunk back there on that table. They're squirrels. They're okay. Underground now, but we'll see them come May. But one thing we'll not see is a cute cat. You know they chase doves? I mean, who does that?
The next piece is number 27. The art is called Colors of My Life by Rob Bonia, and the title of the poem is The Colors of Your Life by Louise Derrywells, number 27.
And this is this wonderful piece. I thought it was wonderful. I've been a therapist for many years now, and I work with a lot of people with depression, and I have depression as well. So it was an honor to find a piece like this so I could speak to that. So the colors of your life, hidden within the pale beiges and browns of dunes and beaches fading to twilight, your inner spirit is alive and reaches beyond a deadening darkness looming to extinguish that inner light. Remember that sand filters sorrow, renders the brown grasses of what used to be into evidence that you've endured. Dunes shift and change, but the roots of your presence hold, even as you drift and wander.
So, I chose a painting from James Caan, right over here. Kane? Hey, James. So as you can see and hear today, this is a day of inspiration. All the poets have drawn inspiration from all the art, and all the artists have drawn inspiration from their lives. For me, when I saw James's painting, it drew that response from me. And not only did I write a poem about it, I decided to put it on the cover of my newest book. So James Cain's painting will be on the cover of my new book. So, the poem is called Light of the Moon. Thoughts brim over at odd hours in the middle of conversations. The end of an 8-second dream seems like an eternity in the light of the moon. Brainwaves solidify the past, vivid interpretations flood into the present. Mind departs from mourning to set free the future. I hear two full crows, cause and effect echo breaking down in the scars. Over here, denial from Peter. I hear myself argue. I hear myself deny. I hear myself self-destruct. The surface of my skin sobs, shed membrane, come out of myself. I am sleep writing. I hear children scream, women whimper, men cry. When the sun and moon share the sky, I reach out for you, infinity.
Next up is number 35. Piece of art is called Soaring Colors by Sandy D. Moranville, and the title of the poem is Soaring Colors by Joseph Poliquet.
I would like to thank the artists for this inspiring, beautiful work they have done, as well as the poets for the good work. Soaring Colors, a book in a park, clear waters, irresistible drawing, reflective dreaming, whistling bird sings, a wish of oneness with her, godlike stillness, harmonious heart and soul disfigured in beauty, drinking water, thirsty pond, stars and moonshine on the book, absolute happiness sent by the yellow flower and its leaves, green paradise on earth, clipped wings that flies through the purple haze, blue, yellow, and blood red at the crown of majesty, butterflies claiming divine spirits in living color. God lent its worth and ascended to the bluest piece of poverty. One butterfly landed on my index finger. A blue wings, one touching the yes, beauty in my soul. Frightening fear releases me back into the brook with color blindness, thrilled to see its imitations, with suffocating generous waters and stingy music air, flowers and brook, delicate human strength, green explosions of nature's flowers. I feel infinite with the permissions of godlike butterflies trapped in a chaos of colors and surface, blue waters.
Next is number 15, a photograph called Chair Illusion by artist Rich Berg, and the poet is John Holgerson. The poem is The Illusionists.
I'd like to thank Philip Thesaurus for inviting me yet again to participate in this event this year. Like many of the poets, if not all of us, I find the creative work of the artists who submit their work to this event to be very challenging to meet the level of their creativity. This, as Tim mentioned, this is called Chair Illusion, the photograph. I think I owe somewhat of a disclaimer to those of you in the room who know that I am one of the co-hosts with Rich Berg on the Eastern Cable Access TV show For the Love of Words. I can tell you that when I selected the photograph, I did not look to see the artist who had submitted it. Not until well after I had actually submitted the poem to Philip for this event. And then I looked at it and I found out who the artist was who had submitted it. And I thought a couple of things. First, I was, wow, what a coincidence. And then I thought, how troubling this is on so many different levels. The Illusionist. 1. 2 white-faced mimes dressed all in black walk onto an empty playground tennis court. They have no rackets. There is no ball. They take their places on each side of the net. A crowd is gathering. The playground grows still. The mesmerized onlookers watch the silent parrying of the players in metronomic unison, and like a faucet's slow drip, they hear the soft, rhythmic, back and forth bouncing of a tennis ball. 2. He raises his right hand above his square-jawed head, his small manicured index finger pointing at the sullen, overcast sky, like Moses when he brought the 10 Commandments down from the mountaintop to a throng of impatient disbelievers. He is promising a certain return to greatness, a greatness never really gone if it was ever there to begin with. And in the background of the crowd's mindless applause, the soft, rhythmic, back and forth bouncing of a tennis ball. Thank you.
Next up is number 26, a photograph entitled Tenacity by Rob Bonia, and the title of the piece is also Tenacity by Nancy Brady Cunningham.
Thank you, everyone. Artists and poets and people who have come to listen. I really am thrilled to be here. This is a delight. The pairing of art, various arts, is just a wonderful exploration of where we can go. So, and big thank you to those who worked at putting this together. I know it's a lot of work. So this is called Tenacity. And is Rob here? Rob Bonia, who took the photograph? No, not here. Okay. Tenacity. You are old. Your faded hair grows sparse. Your arms reach skyward. Fingers beg mercy. Your legs lie tangled below your trunk. You are old. You are plagued by wind whip, rain flood, sun scorch. Your blanket of ground disappears. You are old. Your roots cannot draw moisture from absent soil. You'd welcome the woodchopper's axe, but you are still standing. You will live long. Prove them all wrong. You are old. You are stubborn. You, hold on.
I'd just like to make everyone aware that all of this art is for sale. So obviously, this art has touched those of us who've written about it. If it touches you in any way and you'd like to own a piece of this, you can talk to Sandy. Every piece in here, possibly with the exception of a couple, everything else is for sale. So please keep that in mind. You know, it would mean so much to the artists to have something of theirs cherished that deeply. Next up is number 19. And it is a photograph by Terry Sweeney. I think I can. And the poem is The Meaning of Life is Attention by Sheila Twain.
It was a difficult choice, choosing a piece of art. The reason that I picked out the ladybug, because I like red, for one thing, and it was such a plain, simple photograph. It was enticing. Can I write something about it? And I go home and I say, what do you say about a ladybug, right? The meaning of life is attention, and that is a quote from 15th century Zen master Iku. The natural world is a place of wonder where we can open our eyes and ears to hear the glide of black water under a bridge, to see a tiny yellow bud hidden in a crannied wall, or notice the trace of glacial phenomena surrounding us, lateral and terminal moraines, polished scoured rocks and perched boulders, the result of rocks and soil torn up and deposited by moving glaciers millions of years ago. A ladybug has landed, bright in a dazzling orange-red exoskeleton made of a protein like the one that forms our hair and fingernails. It has a mouth, belly, anus, genitals, heart, brain, nervous system, wings and wing cases, compound eyes that see in many directions. It's every cell, a language, a conversation of proteins, speaking a language of shape and flexibility. Its body has been assembled by its genes, atom by atom, quadrillions of atoms hurled through space from the heart of a star. Every atom in its proper place. A ladybug is resting on a rock. We only see what we expect to see.
Next up is number 10. The title of the piece is Mother-Daughter by artist Mary Merritt, and the title of the poem is In White Theatrical by Joyce Wilson.
I chose the photograph on the wall here, a black and white photograph entitled Mother-Daughter, and I was struck by their interaction, kind of as if they're sharing a private joke. And they're wearing these white bathrobes that seem as if they're maybe waiting in a hospital room. They seem to be made of satin. Maybe they're on a movie set. So a lot of these were going through my mind. I wanted to capture a vulnerable moment. In white theatrical. We dressed in white theatrical and fine, like patients signed with Dr. Frankenstein. I whispered, pressing lips against her hair. Would she agree that we were quite a pair? My voice was soft, my feelings chafed and raw. She laughed as if we shared the things we saw. My illness that would give us both a poke. It takes a pair to make a private joke. A pair that shares the bones and blood and genes for days and years, matching up the scenes, until electric currents take control. The spike erased the lion in my soul. My illness grew and changed the house around. We fought. She lost the center ground. While I retreated, mannered as a mouse, to melt through all the borders of the house, she lost her bid to play the role of host, the very time I needed her the most.
Bonus, if you would like to, and you do purchase a piece of art, you may take it home with you today. It doesn't have to stay here hanging for the month. Next up is number 12. The piece is Early Morning Storm by Ed Cunningham. Ed is not here, but his wonderful wife is sitting right there. And the title of the piece is, poem is A Mirror's Candor, or Where'd You Go, by poet Blue Fox.
I'd just like to say thank you for letting me be a part of this. A mirror's candor, or where'd you go? He has never been fond of my acquaintance. 3 years later, and I'm jumping the shark? As his stern hazel eyes starkly spit disregard for my indecision at the dirty chipped glass, I find myself looking into them hoping to discover a blanket of refuge, only to perceive the person I was to him before he realized I had the romantic intuition of a 16-year-old Turkish boy with nothing but the lyrics of mosquitoes as his chaperones into American summer nights. You couldn't write a better script myself, he reassured the collecting steam. Not until recently did I come to grips with the understanding that my contentment is a mirage, a psychological bear trap set to console the person I was trying too damn hard to be for him. In the seconds it took me to close the closet door, the contradicting mirror reflected burnt defeat upon the room like the smell of its freshly blown out candle. And as tiny droplets of red wax timidly trickled down hot glass, I questioned which is worse, the fool who takes no risks, or the fool who doesn't care how many he takes, no matter the outcome. In due course, infatuation impulsively propels the portrayal of progress as the closing creaks of the closet door echoes the compromised sincerity of second guessing. And I'm left staring, thinking, where'd you go?